This is about front-end loader lifting capacity and the physics of it. And when it comes to physics, what matters is torque. So torque is equal to radius times force times the sine of theta. For this particular presentation, we won't worry about that sine of theta. All you really need to know is that radius and force, in this case will be the gravitational force, are both directly proportional to torque. As I increase radius, I increase torque. As I increase force, gravitational force, mass, I increase torque. Now, we're going to be looking at torque on a seesaw. Here we have a seesaw where the end result due to force, and that force being applied at a radius from the fulcrum of our seesaw, resulted in the right side of the seesaw with a torque of 30 newtons per meter versus the left side of 20 newtons per meter is the side that wins and is the side that tips down. When it comes to the tractor in the seesaw, that fulcrum is our front tires. What's happening in front of those front tires is the left side of the seesaw. What's happening rear of those front tires is the right side of our seesaw. Now, looking at that left side of the seesaw, front of the front tires, you can have some concerns. And it particularly comes into play when you start to add different attachments onto the front of your tractor. Here we have a grapple that could maybe carrying a massive oak log or something like that. And we have some pallet forks that are not only maybe carrying a massive load, but carrying it quite a radius away from those front tires, therefore at a pretty great torque that we have to be worried about. But if we're thinking about this like a seesaw, how do we deal with a lot of torque on one side of our seesaw? Well, we increase the torque on the other side of the seesaw to keep that situation a win for us. And here are our torque-based solutions. One of the most common ones, and pretty much something everyone does now, is add fluid into their rear tires. So on the left here, you see a popular product called RimGuard. What that does is add mass to the tires, therefore increasing the force, therefore increasing the amount of torque on the rear of the tractor. Another way to do that is always, when you're trying to lift a heavy load on the front, make sure you have an implement on the back. Here we have what's called a rotary cutter. The rotary cutter is great because not only is it massive, therefore having a lot of force, it is also at a pretty great radius from those front tires. Those things multiplied together gives us our torque and keeps a situation where from our back tires being loaded and having this rear implement, we can really have some torque on rear of our front tires that we can balance out with some pretty heavy loads to put on the front. Now we'll end with this video. I will play it and then we'll talk about the elements of it as it pertains to what we talked about. But the key of this video is they have a tractor here, the Kubota L2502, which is supposed to only lift 820 pounds to full height, but they're able to lift it a lot more than what you would expect over 1,000 pounds. We're going to watch a short clip though. All right, I will pause it right there and talk about what happened here. So notice he is able to lift that load that is above what his tractor is rated for, but there is a good reason why he is potentially able to do that. One is that these lifting capacities are basically pretty safe that manufacturers provide, but he has also done one important thing. Notice if you look at the back of the tractor, he has a backhoe there. The backhoe is quite a massive attachment, therefore giving a lot of torque to one side of the seesaw to balance with the torque from this heavy load on the pallet forks on the front. Also, as you watched that video, you saw one of the other key points I was trying to make is that you would have seen the tractor rock back and forth on that front tire, kind of proving this idea that indeed, when we're looking at front end loader lifting capacity, it's those front tires that are the fulcrum of our seesaw. Our load that we're trying to lift is one side, that we're trying to balance with the other side, the rear of the tires, by loading up those tires with fluid and making sure we have a heavy implement or an implement that is quite long to get that radius and torque advantage to keep us safe.